Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there was a little girl who lived on a farm with her family. The farm was special because it was a cloud farm. That's right. Instead of fields of grain or grazing cows, their fields were filled with fluffy white clouds that just floated around all day long. And instead of harvesting crops, the farmers would harvest clouds. They would gather up the clouds and store them in giant barrels. Then when it started to get hot outside, they would use those clouds to make delicious frozen treats like ice cream and popsicles. It was a sweet life. One day a little girl named Lily was walking through the cloud fields when she saw something that made her stop in her tracks. It was a tiny gray horse. And this wasn't just any horse. This was a cloud horse, a magical creature that was born from the very essence of the clouds themselves. The other cloud horses had coats as white as snow, but this one had a coat as dark as midnight, and he wasn't just any cloud horse. It was the Cloud King's son, Prince Nimbus. Now you might be wondering why the little girl didn't just walk right up to the horse and say hello. Well, that's because she had heard stories about how wild and untamable cloud horses could be. They were known for their speed and agility, and they could disappear into the clouds so quickly that you'd think they vanished into thin air. But Lily wasn't scared. She was curious, and she really wanted to make a friend. So she took a deep breath and started to walk towards the horse. At first, the prince tried to hide from her, darting between the clouds and making funny faces. But Lily was quick and agile, and she was able to keep up with him. Finally, he stopped trying to run away and just stood there looking at her. Lily held out her hand and slowly, very slowly, the prince lowered his head and sniffed her fingers. Then, as if by magic, the two of them were best friends. They spent the whole afternoon playing in the clouds, and Lily learned all about the Cloud Kingdom, a magical place where the clouds came from. The Cloud King was so happy that someone had finally made friends with his son. He invited Lily to visit the Cloud Kingdom whenever she wanted. She took him up on his offer the very next day. When Lily arrived at the Cloud Kingdom, she was amazed by what she saw. There were rolling hills made of clouds, sparkling waterfalls, and even a palace made entirely out of pure white marble. But what impressed her the most was the cloud horses. They were everywhere. There were horses as white as snow, horses as gray as storm clouds, and even a few horses with coats as colorful as rainbows. Lily spent the whole day playing with the cloud horses, and they raced and played hide and seek until the sun started to set. Then it was time for her to go home. The Cloud King was so happy that Lily had come to visit, he gave her a magical cloud horse to ride on whenever she wanted. And with that, Lily said goodbye to her new friend and headed back to her own world. From that day on, Lily would visit the Cloud Kingdom as often as she could, and she never, ever forgot her magical friend, Prince Nimbus. And that's the story of the horse who lived on a cloud farm. The end.